Nice. Okay, welcome everybody to this, do I dare say it, first live broadcast from the, I'll take this off when I'm speaking, first live broadcast from our new chamber. So, welcome to everybody who is dialed in, the huge numbers of people who will no doubt be watching this. This will become an internet sensation, I'm sure. Let's hope if we go viral, it'll be for the right reasons. As opposed to the wrong reasons. So, apologies for absence.
Apologies from Councillor Arnold and Councillor Willett.
Thank you very much. Are there any declarations of interest? Ooh. Okay, good. I thought I would declare, it seems not quite on the agenda, but I'll declare it anyway. I took a lateral flow test before I came, and I tested fine. I don't know if anybody else did a lateral flow test.
Is that positive or negative fine? I'm not quite sure.
I did not, according to that test, I do not have COVID-19.
I did the same.
You did the same? Okay, thank you.
I have a few boxes at home.
Yeah, you too.
I did one on Sunday.
Okay.
I should have sorted that.
This is something I think we're going to have to agenda at next week's meeting for council. About the protocols on this, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant to agenda to ask everybody if they're taking a positive or negative.
No, but I think we need to decide what we're going to do about that and whether we do or don't wear masks. I mean, I'm not wearing one now because I'm talking. But I think if we're in a meeting and we're not talking, then I think we should go back to the protocol that we established when we were in Lake Sale, which is wear a mask. Because we're even more juxtaposed here, aren't we? In a sense,
Yeah.
Cheap my jumper. And I think masks are important to wear when people are not speaking, is my view, but I think we need to talk about that, to establish what the protocol is.
Yes, we do. So what I'm thinking, I know we're off the agenda, but no matter. Technically, we'll talk about a full council, which is the 4th of October.
Not part of why the interim.
But at the moment, there is nothing on the agenda for interim.
Really?
So it'd be holding interim just to talk about what the protocol is for holding the ski meeting.
Nice. Okay.
I might liaise with them there after the meeting to take a view of what to do.
So interim is next Monday, isn't it?
A week on Monday.
A week on?
Yeah.
Okay. There might be something coming from what I hear.
That's helpful to know.
Okay. But I do think we ought to establish a protocol, and I actually think it's probably worthwhile putting on the agenda. I know we're off the agenda, sorry about this, but I think it's worthwhile having that discussion in itself, given that we're now back together again in our squeaky brand new, clean, I'm going to put little pictures here. No, let's get off this, we'll get back to the meeting. Okay, meeting notes. Were they agreeable to everybody? To review the minutes from our last meeting of the 10th of June. Yep, fine, okay, let's move on then. The legislation surrounding town and parish council newsletters. This is Appendix A. Right, this was put on by you, Louise. Do you want to talk us through why you put it on the agenda? Or was it put on you by you?
Okay. It's on the agenda just for information. So the committee did discuss this some time ago. Obviously, we did actually put the committee. So it's just a reminder for any new committee members that what we do with the newsletter is very consistent with recommended practice on town council newsletters.
Right. And I guess for me the implication of this is that we do not carry commercial adverts. And that should apply to all other local authority newsletters as well, including Buckinghamshire Council.
Yeah.
That's interesting then, isn't it? Because they do carry adverts from commercial providers. Could I suggest that we write a letter to Buckinghamshire Council to ask them how they are managing to follow this guidance, government guidance, and still have commercial?
The only thing I would comment is that this guidance is specifically for parish councils.
Okay.
So I couldn't comment on whether the guidance is different for.
It says code of practice for local authority publicity. That suggests it's for all local authorities, not just parish councils.
But all I know is this was issued for parish councils, so whether there's anything slightly different for larger councils, I would clarify.
Could you investigate that before we write an answer? That's
Yes.
all right, let's
Yeah.
after you've done the investigation. Yeah. See where things are at. An informal inquiry would be.
I can do that.
But it does validate our policy so far of not having advertisements for commercial providers, which was raised during the election by a councillor. Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments on that from anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. Right, newsletter review. To review the content of the autumn 2021 newsletter, which is currently in draft 2 form. Is that right, Bethany?
Yes.
You had a comment on it, Margaret. I looked through it, it looked fine to me. The only thing I would say about it is that where there's the title for the wildlife competition, I wonder if that ought to be in the same format to all our other titles, though it's a different colour to the text. But it's like sort of indented in a page that's about littering. I'm wondering if we could maybe just make it a bit more high profile.
That's what I can ask Christina.
I think that's the only thing I would comment on it. Martin, did you have any comments about the current version?
No, you've done it to death on those amendments.
Well, I went through it fairly closely, as of course did you, Margaret, as always. Most grateful for your editing and everything else. Okay, so when will it be produced and when will it be distributed?
So we're waiting for photographs from Saturday
Okay,
that we can put together, sent to the designer next week. It'll go to print next week, or end of next week, and they'll start being distributed at the very end of September, sort of early October. They get a 2-week window to deliver them. So. And it'll be the first one with our new delivery company.
right, okay. So end of October, it should be in people's doormats.
September.
End of September, sorry. Right, end of September, early October.
Mhm.
And if we can get the digital copy up as soon as possible as well, because I think we ought to social media that, promote it on social media as well, because it will alert people to the hard copy arriving on their doorsteps. Because I think a lot of people just look at it and just throw it away. They're going to say, it's going to be coming to your doorstep, to a doormat near you, here's the digital version, as a kind of greeting. Yes, Martin?
We're going to have the display back up in the window again.
What, the rolling display on a computer?
No, in the bay window, we had a display there, didn't we?
Interesting items. Yes.
You said we should put up the latest newsletter up there.
Well,
I think that's a good idea.
it's another place of people milling around. They could,
That's good. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, maybe it's sort of like an arrow saying, and you see, yours is going to be arriving when you see it, or something. Margaret?
Yeah, thank you. Just mentioning the new delivery company, was that because of problems with previous deliveries? Because we didn't get the last one at all, ever.
Well, we did the report process because they come to the end of their contract anyway. So we did the tender process. There were 3 different people, and we went with a different company for various reasons, I think. But they're still quite local. But they've got a slightly different way that they deliver. They use a tracking system. So hopefully, yes, it will be more. There'll be less instances of not receiving newsletters.
Does that have an implication for our schedule of newsletters? Because we adjusted our schedule to fit in with the previous distributed schedule, didn't we? The summer.
No, so they're going ahead with the schedule that we've got already. I think if we wanted to make changes, we can talk about it.
So when they distribute it, will it just be our newsletter?
Yes, it's just our newsletter can be delivered by itself as well.
So we can do whatever schedule we want?
Yeah.
Okay, because there is the issue of this time of the year when things get a bit bunched up, don't they? The reason we haven't got a hard copy to look at is because of the kind of the sequencing.
Yeah, it's a little tricky with August and not having meetings in August. We'd have to possibly rethink our meeting schedule if you want to change the date. But it come out, but we could definitely consider it, yeah.
Okay.
As long
I
as
don't
it's
think we
still-
want to have any more meetings in August. I think the 2 planning meetings that we had is not enough.
Yeah,
Let's try and stick with that policy on that.
so because of Yeah, so we end up meeting right before the summer holidays and right after the summer holidays normally because of the schedule of newsletters. So we'd have to think about how we have meetings and still don't have any meetings. When they could come out and still not have any meetings in August. It's to work out. But because we're quite low on numbers, we really struggled to be quorate at the end of July because
True.
understandably, a lot of people are away. So it might be something that's worth thinking about anyway.
But basically you think stick with what we've got.
I think in terms of when they come out, it's fine, it more or less makes sense.
Okay, all right, let's keep it under review, but let's stick with what we've got for the time being. Okay, all right. Okay, any other points about the current newsletter? Otherwise we'll sort of go ahead and just look forward to that being promoted and being on display in the window behind you. Okay, thank you. Moving on then to the future newsletter. That's Appendix B. Okay, front cover. I think that sounds like a great idea. Use one of the, and then we can be promoting the calendar. I'll get there eventually. Message from our mayor, yes, as usual. Past events, future events, yada 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 yada. List of councillors, usual stuff, events diary, back page, as usual. Just to think, I mean, we've had your views count. I mean, it's there as a major principle, but have we ever had anyone respond to that, do we think?
Not specifically referencing that item,
No.
no. We do sometimes get feedback on the newsletter.
I'm inclined to leave it in, but sometimes I wonder whether we are. It does allow us to say a few things that we wouldn't anywhere else be able to say. Okay, all right, we'll leave that. Events diary, back page as usual. So,
Just on your views count, I think as it's been mentioned, it doesn't actually say all our meetings are live streamed on YouTube.
okay,
And maybe that's where we should put it, with the appropriate link.
good idea.
And recorded so people can
Yeah,
go back to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So maybe that it just needs to be thought very slightly, because then it will make it even longer, and it's quite long already. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Although it does match with the other side.
No, I think that's a good idea. It also might encourage you to kind of dial in, beyond the dozen or so we got this morning, this afternoon, whatever. Hello, if you're watching, thank you for coming. Okay, so moving on then, thank you, I think it's a good idea. So if you could action that, Louise or Bethany, thank you. Okay, so suggestions for the 83/4 remaining pages. With the bullet points, just out of interest, does that cover the 83/4?
I think that's a page extra.
Right. Okay.
Yes, 3/4 of a page extra.
Okay, all right, well, let's think about that. Okay, so short of the promotion, that given that's good to get everybody again, I think that's a very good idea. Agree? Yes. The new bard, one page. Given that we could have a couple of their winning poem or poems, I suppose, would be good to put that for they.
Depending on how quick.
Yes, well,
Maybe a snapshot.
maybe some excerpts if it's as long as the ones that Dean put. Loving the idea, of course. Many of Dean's poems were epics, weren't they? They were great. I'll miss his bardic contributions to the town hugely. Thornton Park Bridge repairs, if I can get the words out correctly, half page. That's letting people know what's happening in the schedule, presumably.
Well, they would have finished by the time this comes.
Oh, right.
Hopefully.
Okay, hopefully. So it's a report.
If
of
not,
what's
it will
been
be an
done.
update on the progress
Okay.
so far.
So an update / report on what's been done and why, and how you can now wheel many more heavier things over the bridges than you've done. That's the joke. Okay, water pollution. Well,
We've got the draft article.
right.
which I have read. Now, is it just me? The first bullet point seems to be missing a negative. Shouldn't it be don't wash your car?
Yes.
Good point.
I read it several times trying to make it make sense and I couldn't.
But that's nowhere. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying if you're saying, tell people, don't wash your car where the soap chemicals can flow into the drains, where are they supposed to?
Well, they go on, drive onto your grass verge or something, isn't it? They use a driving car wash or on a gravel or grass area. So it soaks into
So
the
it
ground
gets
rather than
absorbed.
going into the surface water drain.
Isn't
Interesting to know
That's-
where the car wash is.
That's a huge cultural shift because the car wash stuff goes into the drains there,
No, I think they recycle,
do they?
they've got drainage there so that they don't use a whole load of water.
But where does the wastewater go eventually?
Well, some of it must go down the drain, but I think, as in a car wash, they don't use fresh water, I think they recycle.
And they
Well,
filter it.
Yeah, well, I think that's maybe to be confirmed then. And likewise with the hand washing ones, they've always got drainage there that
Yeah.
recycles it, I think, but
But
maybe
you say to people you can't wash your car on the side of the road or on your concrete drive or something because the water will run. That's a major change.
everything's going to be a major change, isn't it?
Well,
Everything's going to be a major change, to some people.
where's this come from, by the way, this advice?
It came from the Environment Committee quite a while ago. I think it came from advice from the Water Board.
This is connectright.org.uk.
This is in a government agency. I mean, we know about litter and oils and chemicals and everything else, and putting wet wipes, etc., down the toilet. We know all about that. I'm just thinking this first bullet point will be controversial. I mean, personally, I don't really wash cars anyway. That's the point. I really don't. Occasionally I might, but I don't wash my car ever on the drive.
there are products for soap. If the issue is soap shouldn't be going into surface water drainage, then there are safer soaps you can buy. So that might be about promoting extended car shampoo.
Yeah, if I've ever done it, I've got a washing up liquid and just squeeze that into a bowl, into a bucket of water.
Don't use washing up liquid on a car, John.
It's full of salt.
Is it?
That's bad for the paintwork.
You see, that's why I don't wash cars.
Yeah, maybe we need to redo that because maybe eco-friendly detergents need to be in there if you're going to do it.
And don't be like Councillor Harvey and use the wrong stuff altogether.
If you're going to do it on a hard surface. Yeah.
There must be advice out there somewhere. And I just thought use a bucket rather than a hose because then you use less water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do it at all. It would be my advice. Interesting. Can we research this some more then, I think all to say?
I just wonder whether it could be slightly, because that's an order, isn't it? Don't wash your car. Whether it could be expressed in a slightly softer way.
Only wash your car with environmental friendly materials.
When absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's right.
Because you obviously need to keep your headlights and your number plate clear and spill and everything.
Yeah, I agree with that, but what's the point of cleaning a car and you drive out the next day in the rain and it's dirty again? I don't get the point. I'm pretty sure you didn't get it.
I can ask Ian to sort of go. Yeah.
It's a bit like dusting with me as well, as I when you get to a certain, half a centimetre, dusting it anymore makes no difference. It's just the fluid.
So, may I ask, that Connect Right is about your property. Where did the other information come from on that article? I think we ought to put at the bottom it says source, whatever it is, Connect Right, but I don't think all of it came from Connect Right, because that's just about, is your property connected to the sewer system in this way or that way?
I can ask you.
I think we're saying, have a look again at this article.
Do you want to include it?
Well, if we're been asked to include it by the Environment Committee, I think we should. But equally, I'm not wild like using a .org.uk site as a main site unless it's government funded.
Okay.
I just need to look at it myself directly. Who is Connect Right? It's an old title for
And, sorry.
No, go on then.
I do remember when I was chair of the Environment Committee, we were at somewhere in Page Hill, and there was somebody from Anglian Water there, I think, and they were talking about the problem of people maybe have a slight change to their houses, and they end up plumbing a washing machine and maybe in a garage or something.
This is exactly what Connect Right are showing on their homepage.
Right, and then that water then goes down the wrong, it
Exactly.
doesn't go into the correct drain, it can go into the surface water drain, and that causes all sorts of issues.
Yeah.
And that, I don't think that's mentioned here, is it? Okay. Oh, it does say misconnections, yeah.
I mean, that's in your face when you get onto the Connect Right website.
Yeah.
Public face of the National Misconnection Strategy Group.
Hence Environment Agency.
There's more to come with this Environment Agency again.
They're linked to them, I think.
They're all, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be some sort of group arising out of the Environment Agency, so I guess we can cite it. Okay. Can we look at, I think we just need to look into this some more, I think. And I think we need to be careful what we're advising people to do. I suspect we could be provoking quite a controversy if we tell people in Buckingham you cannot wash your car on your driveway or side of the road anymore.
We'll see how many people read it then, won't we?
That's fine, we'll do that.
Okay. Right, moving on then. Neighbourhood Plan Survey Promotion. Right, that's not yet been formed yet, has it? The survey. We've had to
No,
drive
it's not been
drafts,
finalised yet.
but tell people about it. Okay. And this is in advance of us on the redoing of the neighbourhood plan.
Yes.
Okay.
This newsletter comes out at the beginning of December.
Hopefully by then.
If not, we can fill the space with something else.
Well, what we did before was we kind of tagged all articles about the neighbourhood plan under a common banner, didn't we? Should we start doing that again? Because this is probably
If we think,
first of many articles that we'll be having about the neighbourhood plan provision.
yeah, if we think we're ready, we can start doing that.
Just so it gives it a certain then sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Town council wants to. We've done some stuff on the flood plan already. That's the current edition, isn't it? Or previous edition. We've got that wrong. I have got copies with me, I apologise.
So meant to stuff on the flooding response.
I thought we talked about the flood plan in the previous edition.
No, we weren't ready to talk about it in the previous edition. So we've done a lot of work on it over the last year.
Oh, hang on, I'm talking about the one we did, oh, hang on, that's what's confusing me. I'm talking about the thing we did about 3 years ago. Yeah, that's what I got in my head. Oh, my apologies. Okay, so 2 pages on that, telling you what the flood plan is, basics, and how they can get involved.
Yep, and we'll have done by then sort of various bits of work that we can talk about by then.
We've done the exercise as well, haven't
We
we?
will have done the
So I have a
exercise,
couple of photos of people pretending it's a flood
practicing.
and solving it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That sounds brilliant.
Is there any update to what has happened then, like clearing some of the river, or earlier warning? Because there was the move of the sensor, wasn't it, upstream from what we had the problem with last time, with very little warning.
Yeah, I don't know what they've actually issued about that, so we can find out if there is information. The big news will be when the S19 review completes and announces, but that's working on bureaucratic timescales.
Yeah, we're going to have a few more floods during that process, and I was thinking about the people that are affected. So we do know that they've got all the contact numbers, or alert. We could list them, couldn't we?
Yes, and part of the community flood plan is about, we will have written to all residents who could be affected, so it's about to go out. So giving them key information, inviting them to.
All right, so we don't need to put that information in here because you are giving them this information personally.
Yes,
Right, brilliant.
and that's part of the plan we're looking to.
Yeah, so we've got a great big document, but we're just pricing it down here to let the wider community know.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, I think that's good. I think it's
that's-
worthy of 2 pages.
Yes.
It's a lot to say.
Mm.
One day we'll have the information about the poisoning that killed all the fish as well. That eventually comes. Who knows when that will emerge. Okay, right. Good. So, Buckingham Community Wildlife Project, 2 pages. What's this about then?
So the Community Wildlife Project is a collection of groups. It's I remember them all now. It's the Railway Walk, the Canal Society, our groups of river wardens and tree wardens and flood warden. No, not flood warden. And who else is in there?
Maids Morton.
Maids Morton and the Edible Woodland.
Okay.
So they're all working together to sort of work so that their projects work together and cohesively. So they've asked us to promote the individual groups and the work. So I think they also, I think they're also involved in the river fly surveys recently that our river wardens were involved in. There's also some background work with the community group.
So let people know what they're doing, what they've achieved, and presumably looking for more volunteers as well.
Yeah.
If you want to get involved. Okay, I think that's great. Agree? Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Right, Buckinghamshire Adult Learning. An article about their courses, 3/4 page, and with the 3/4 page. Right, the adult learning. Now, typically, our policy in the past has been we don't have articles from Buckinghamshire because they have their own methods of promoting their offer, as it were.
I want to go on the stained glass window course, please.
I'm wondering if we can do a deal with Buckinghamshire. I'm wondering to say, well, okay, we will publish this, but in return, we would expect to have a 1/4 or an 1/8 page advertising some aspect of the town council in the next Buckinghamshire newsletter.
Always hard, isn't it?
I don't think that's unreasonable to expect something in return for us using our resources to advertise the offer from the local authority. Lauren.
I understand what you're saying, however, for the residents of Buckingham, who, might read this and think, I'm interested in stained glass or learning a language, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect to see that in our newsletter. Local information. And actually be life-changing for that person, because, somebody maybe starts learning French, you know, it could lead to all sorts of things, couldn't it?
I'm a huge advocate of adult education, have been always, and will continue to be, and so on. It's just a principle here, because, you know, if there's a scope for a return, then I think we should at least explore it.
The difficulty with it is just practically, we're obviously a Buckingham-based publication, whereas they're county-wide.
True.
So they would probably struggle to put anything about a specific town council in, because they might then say, well, then we'd have to put something about 168 councils in what we do, which is just impractical. I don't know if they do anything more local in terms of publications. I think adult learning just do county-wide stuff.
Can't hurt to ask, Connect.
No. Well, why don't we say, yes, we'll do this bit. By return, could you ask whether there could be perhaps a page put aside in the Shire Council newsletter for, I don't know, hot news from the town and parish councils of the county? So it doesn't be us, but they could put a page aside for town and parish council news, couldn't they? And that means they could do it in whatever way that was agreed. And we'd be opening up that possibly not just for us, but also for Cheshire and, I don't know, Aylesbury and everybody else. Saying, you know, we're not saying it's a strict quid pro quo, but, you know, given that, you know, we're not offering this, but you are, then I think a bit of reciprocity wouldn't go amiss. Let's see what they say.
As long as that's not the thin end of the wedge, and then having done that, then we get other stuff being sent to us from Buckinghamshire that isn't quite so relevant to us. This is, I think the reason this is exceptional is this is for our residents, isn't it? This is our local adult learning centre.
Do you say the same thing for the fire service, or for foster care, or for all the other things that the county, you know, the Shire Council does, which hopefully are all to benefit Buckingham people in the same sort of way, aren't they? You know, we don't, you're right, we're not here to become another communication arm of the Shire Council. Because this is valuable, without any doubt. But then so are lots of other things that I hope that the Shire Council does. What about the news about recycling centres? That's really important too. Or news about the Vale of Aylesbury local plan, for example. People might say that's a very important thing people to think about. It could become the end of the pitch. I mean, we can manage that, of course. I think there is a precedent here. We have done things in the past on behalf of the Shire Council. I don't know what the list is, but there have been quite a few things. I'm just saying, given that they want a whole 3/4 page, is that a 3/4 page?
Yeah, it's about that length, the article that they gave us.
And these are courses in Buckingham itself, not just courses generally.
No, near to, it says.
In and near to. Yes. I guess the question is how near? Is High Wycombe near?
High Wycombe, yeah. If you've got to go to hospital there, then surely it's near, isn't it?
I think it could include Winslow.
Yeah.
Well, it's talking about what's the matter here, isn't it?
They would regard Waddesdon as being, they would regard Waddesdon. So, regard.
So,
Waddesdon Manor. I'm supposed to go for a course.
on the bullet points they've got there, it may be rewritten a bit, but can we lump Spanish in with the French, German and Italian? And if you short a space, you could put those, in one bullet with commas between.
French, German, Spanish.
Yeah, because they've done English, maths, and what is ESOL? Can we expand that?
English is a second or other language.
Well, that still doesn't spell it out for me.
Yeah, we have got a policy not to have acronyms, haven't we? Or they've got to be explained.
So
That's a
English
good
is a
point.
second or other language.
And why we singled out stained glass Buckingham Centre when no others have.
Is that the only one that happens in Buckingham Centre, maybe?
Well, none of the others have any location against them.
Locations would be helpful, wouldn't they?
I would love location against all of them, but if we're not going to have it for all of them, then let's not just have the one.
True.
End of my moan.
Do we want to ask which ones are actually at Buckingham? I know they do the pottery at Buckingham.
Oh, do they?
And I think the funding for English and maths courses says they're fully funded for adults who don't already have an A star to C or 94 grade GCSE. I think that's funded by the European Union still, isn't it? Can we check that out? Because if it is, I think we should state that. Just trying to be accurate. And I think it's actually a requirement of the funding arrangement that, in fact, that it should be shown. I have a friend who teaches English.
Maybe not on this sort of advertisement, maybe on the course itself.
Yeah, I still think it should be mentioned. And today is the day when the students are running for beer.
Do you know?
It's called chickens coming home to roost. Could we check that out?
I can check it out.
Obviously, it's their article, so you can't edit it. But I think what Martin's saying is worthwhile to make squeezing through the page. In principle, yes, I think it's a good thing. Yes, I think we should publish it. But I think we should also ask: can we talk with your communications team about doing something as an act of reciprocity? Perhaps there ought to be a page in the forthcoming Buckinghamshire County newsletter, which will have news from your local information type. Can we do that?
Conversation, yeah.
Yeah. Use every negotiating ploy you've got to get that. I know our position is moderately weak. But yes, these are good courses, and for those who sometimes query it, flower engineering is really important to have in our education. Because some people have had very bad experiences with education in the past. That's a kind of a way in to adult education for some people. And it's a really, really useful course. And it's been run from time immemorial.
I didn't hear what you said starting. Which course are you talking about?
Forestry and farming.
Oh, forestry and farming.
A lot of people would go, yeah, I can't go along to a classroom and be taught by a teacher because I had such a terrible time in school. Flower engineering is a kind of way of drawing some of those people in.
Yeah.
And it helps you get the confidence to go on and maybe learn Spanish or maybe do a GCSE in English or whatever.
Yeah. It's a potted course that lets you branch out onto other things.
Something like that. Something like that. We can do lots of colours if you want to. Okay, right, so back to the list. So we're up to the time, we're up to the full quotient now.
You're up to your full quotient now. So we could have winter safety tips as a backup if we can't do anything.
Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But were there any other ideas, Margaret, Martin, anybody?
Sorry, what was it going to be the backup?
With the safety tips.
Winter safety tips.
Oh,
We have done that.
Yeah,
So at
we've
least
done that,
twice.
yeah.
Not every time. People, any other articles you might want to have as a backup or for the next edition that might occur to you?
I just wonder, I mean, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because at the moment, life has been changing, hasn't it? Continuously over the last year and a half or so. But I suppose that could become part of the mayor's message, couldn't it? About, I think in some ways, it almost feels that we need to acknowledge that, you know what I mean? How,
Bounce back.
yeah, it bounce back, and I'm sure that a lot of people are still struggling with all that's happened, and life isn't the same as it was before.
Yeah,
I don't know how we deal with that in a newsletter, I don't know, but it just feels as though that's the big elephant in the room, if you like, and just to ignore it is maybe difficult, but then how you deal with it.
I think there's a whole transitional thing.
Mm.
I mean, people feeling confident and not confident in public meetings and so on. Going into shops with or without a mask, all that kind of stuff. I think, yeah, whatever you can say that will help people progress.
Yeah, because I think you're right that, you know, that because for a long while it was very clear what we were allowed to do and what we weren't allowed to do, but now that message is quite blurred, isn't it? It's taking personal responsibility rather than being told you've got to do X, Y, and Z. And that actually is can be trickier for people than very clear messages about what you can and can't do.
I won't deliver the detail, but I have experience of that, you know, from close friends and family, you know, exactly what people feel comfortable doing and not comfortable doing. You know, it's difficult. Yeah. So yes, I think if you could address that in the mayor's message, that would be good.
Yeah.
Any other topics that we might include at some other point? Can't it?
Not that I've been thinking about over the last few months.
Okay. I must say between you guys, I don't know who produces this, whether you do it collectively or individually, you do a good list then of suggested articles. It's really helpful. And I think that's something that's changed a lot from what we were doing 6 or 7 years ago. The ideas that are coming forward from the organising officers, I think it's great.
I suppose there is the other elephant in the community, which is about the health premises and the survey that's gone out. But I think that's going to finish before this will hit the streets.
What's the final date on it?
Consultation about the sort of practice.
Yeah, what's the final date on
Yeah.
It's too late.
Yeah,
Might there be a report on that?
I'm sure there will be, yes.
It will be discussed by the town council, obviously. Will a decision actually be made? That's perhaps made.
I think what we've just decided is that this edition can't capture it.
And there's actually so much you could say. I've been following the thread on social media this morning about people complaining they can't go and see their GP, and go to their GP, and how terrible it is and everything else. But there's so many misunderstandings about all of that.
I think it's just nice occasionally that people that receive the leaflet or magazine, what are we calling it? Newsletter. You know, understand that we are still thinking about it, you know, a bit like the flood, you know, we've given the information out, but here's a little pricing to say, you know, this is what we've done, thinking about. It may not be our domain, but you know, we're thinking about you in your times of hardship and devastation.
It would be difficult space-wise. We could consider trying to fit it in the one that's just about to come out, because that would be published, but I think you'd really struggle to write anything of substance in the space that we have available. And you might risk not really helping the situation because there's not enough space to explain things fully.
It's received quite a lot of promotion in both the newspaper and on social media.
I think most people know that.
Yeah.
Do we respond as a council to that, or isn't that?
Yeah, that's on the agenda for full council.
Oh, right.
Well, both and either, I suppose, is the answer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I responded personally. The council, that's the 4th of October. Meeting. I will be there. Okay. Well, I think keep thinking about it, folks, is all I would say. About articles that ought to be going in. I think the issue that I will just bring, an issue that concerns me greatly is loneliness and so on. And I think how we tackle that. I think I'll try to think about something on that. Submit that to remind me. If you would, definitely, thank you.
And that is, well, correct me if I'm wrong, particularly pertinent during the winter months when it's
Yeah.
dark and people can feel very trapped in their houses, elderly people especially, but not exclusively.
No, not exclusively, it's not,
And
not
people
just for
can-
older people.
But people can feel quite trapped for all those extra long hours during the winter.
Yeah, and you can feel lonely in a crowd too.
We could add that to the list for the spring edition, because that does come out at the end of February, so it's often still rather grim, frankly, at the end of February.
Well, as grim as August has been, really, isn't it? It's exactly been the height of summer the last couple of weeks, isn't it? We've had some nice evenings. It's been about it. Okay, all right. Moving on then to item 7, the audio newsletter. Who should record the next copy? So who's down to record the one that we're currently editing, the autumn edition? Right.
Councillor Willett, yeah.
So therefore we need, well,
About the new bar.
new part, well, depends if they're a woman or not, really.
What's that got to do with the price of bread?
We alternate, male and female. It's a good idea, though.
There's a 50-50 chance.
There is. I was going to suggest either Fran or Sue.
Yeah,
Okay then.
Ryan is the new male councillor, yeah, and also.
Yeah, and then later on we can go through all the new council stuff, really. We've got a stack there. And maybe later on the bar when it fits in with the kind of thing. Are you?
Yes, that's
Oh,
Right, that annoyed me.
It's better, doesn't it?
okay, so we can see ourselves now. Okay, good.
Do you want to offer it to Fran first?
Formally, we should offer it to Sue first, because Sue was elected, Fran was co-opted.
Yes.
So I'd offer it to Sue first, and then see what she says. And then later on we can have Fran, and later on we can have Maddie. So those are all the new councillors, aren't they?
Alright.
Warwick, yes, we could Warwick if you want to. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then we're set for
Okay, we've got a good set.
until summer then, aren't we?
Yeah.
You've got the MPs to do one yet?
Ooh.
Good question.
That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, well, we've had the law, the new law, we've got to. So there, let's go for broke, let's have a look at that big. But I think we should get through our councillors first, though. Who knows why they're not in the election? You never know. You never know. Okay, so aside with that, item 8, ongoing development of websites improvements to be made. We'll clear up the glitch about Margaret's
Yeah, sorry about that.
email address.
Oh, and name then.
And name, yeah. And my name's been misspelled occasionally as well.
Oh, without enough ease. Okay, okay.
Asking, I hope this is relevant to the agenda, but I'm aware of 3 or 4 requests that came to that wrong address. Will that be somewhere on the website? Because people have, I've checked as well, and people haven't had a bounce. Usually if you put the wrong address in, you get a message back saying I'm delivered the address is wrong or something. And I've asked and they didn't get that. So
That's very strange, they should have had a bounce.
they should have had a bounce in there.
I can ask,
I just wondered whether they're
There'll
messages.
be a catch-all on our domain.
There is some
There
login.
is
If
just-
somebody puts in something
online.
actual value social.co.uk, I've had a wall at, it would arrive still with me somehow.
Correct. Mine too as well. So this was your council one, was it?
Mail.
Well, it didn't have the councillor CLLR dot Buckingham TC, it went to Buckingham TC. CLLR was missing. So with the same address that Paul and Louise and Bethany have, the same core address.
yeah, so it's a different company, but I can ask them if they might be hidden somewhere that they can access.
Or also ask them, just put any undefined at buckinghamtc.co.uk to forward to admin.
Yeah,
That's how mine does.
Yeah,
that would be good.
because admin at Buckingham TC is your address, isn't it?
Yes, fine,
Yeah, that would be fine.
So if you check back in your inbox, there's nothing
yeah.
there.
Nothing there.
I'll speak to our contact there because he's normally quite helpful, and I'll see if he's got.
It's quite hard to find that page about the there.
It's on
Oh,
the contact us drop down on the far right.
Is it? Right. Oh, I was looking for it under the telephones.
We could put it on there as well.
I think
It's not a
we could
problem.
have it on there too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other changes to the notes to the website?
Just on email, just to let you know that we're currently re-tendering for the IT contract,
Right.
and that includes provisional emails. So we might be moving to a different email provider in 3 or 4 months anyway. So that might.
Is this because of the glitches we've been having because of it got somehow captured into a spam?
No, so we're due to re-tender for the whole IT contract anyway,
Right,
and we've put quite a lot into the new tender.
right.
So that will include IT. It doesn't include the website, we'll get around to re-tendering the website.
Yes, we're slightly behind on retendering the website because we wanted to start that now, but we'll do that next time.
But the company you go with for the IT contract might affect what you want to do with the website contract.
Okay.
So let's do one first.
Okay. Martin?
So we're talking about Buckingham TC and Discover Buckingham, are we?
Yes.
Yes.
So on the Discover Buckingham, the homepage has a scroll down for more information. But then if you were to go into one of the others, there is no. So I sort of picked parking in Buckingham. You've got the picture parking in Buckingham, but there's nothing that says scroll down further if we're going to be consistent. Likewise with the timetables. And it's quite a big picture. I know it's normal, but we either take it off the first one or put it on the second one, put it on the others.
Yeah, I'll see if we can do that.
I'm not sure I really understood what you meant there.
So like here, it's got just bus timetable, there's nothing to say scroll down, but if you were on the home page, it just says scroll down for further, or for more or something.
So just the text is missing.
It's just the text, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty obvious, but it's a very large picture, and maybe, people don't, which is why it's
A lot of
there,
people don't scroll down.
which is why it's there, because they see that picture and go, ooh, is there anything else in there?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask him to do that. That'll be fine.
It's a picky thing.
Do we get any reports or feedback from anybody? I mean, obviously, that's, I mean, those of us in the room here are not spending all our time looking at the website.
About the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we do. So we have various submission forms on the website, so sometimes people will send a extra information added in.
Okay.
And of course you get all the statistics of hits and things, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
Which you give us from time to time.
Gives us a pretty good idea of which pages are working well for people and which ones aren't. So
Okay.
I would say when we retender the website, I'd probably change the design a little bit.
It's your prerogative to tweak around the edges, isn't it?
Tinkle, yeah. A little bit of tinkering, yeah.
Yeah, tinkle, if you like to tinkle.
It is getting a bigger and bigger job, the website, isn't it? Because it's gradually growing and we keep on adding it. So then keeping track of bits updated gets a big.
And just on that one, the drink and dine of Discover Buckingham, it has the opening times. I just wonder whether we should put those in there, especially when it says go to the website, because if they do change, it's something else we've got to update. Where really, if you want Turkish, oh, there's one there. Let me go and find out more for myself. rather than giving them those opening times because they may not be right.
Unless they're scooped off their website.
No, I don't think they are.
No, I don't think so. I think, well, can we have a chat with Emma about that and see how she does it? Because it might be that it's a tool for her team anyway, so they've got that information. So part of the theory of that website is it's a record of stuff that they know. So if they're on top of that, everybody's opening time.
Yeah, it bothers me to say it because as we're coming out of lockdown, you know, things are changing and it's a bit more dynamic, and I wouldn't like to think that, oh, I can't go to the Black Pepper on a Tuesday because they're not open. But
Yeah, no,
they may be.
It makes, what you said makes sense.
I know that she does update them. I think it's part of the way that she works.
Okay.
And because a lot of what she's doing is about being in communication with all the different shops and restaurants and stuff. So I know that she's mentioned before that she was updating things like that.
Right.
But the general principle, though, of putting in details that are perennial rather than the tweaking or change.
Yeah, because it's not us, is it? We're just sort of trying to do a stepping stone.
We are.
Yeah. We might need a slightly lighter touch way of editing it for the next 1 month. Anyway, so.
Yeah.
Because.
Things don't want to.
Right, okay. Hence the 9 months, right, I've got it there.
Just looking, because from what Martin said, I just went on to that dining page. I can't remember, there's another new one, isn't there, just along there, I can't think of it called, on the left.
They've extended themselves, they've taken over space next door. So they've always been, they've been there the last few months.
Yeah,
They've now taken over the shop next door as well.
For West Kitchen.
it's not
Yes.
on here, is it?
I don't think so. I'll mention that to her.
I think there was a general invite that went out to people, and those on the website are people who have responded.
Responded, so it's not comprehensive, it's,
No,
It never will be.
no,
I mean,
it's
there's a
quite
new
a lot.
forest in Meadowwalk as well,
Yeah.
that opened up this week.
Oh yes, it does say you have a food and drink business and would like your business to feature.
Yeah, so I think it's asking a lot of
Yeah.
anybody to stay in touch with all the shops
Yeah.
opening and closing, that people should be wanting to promote themselves.
Because it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments about either websites? Okay, moving on, social media update. I think I've read through this, it's all very positive. Good number of hits. Continuing to grow our social media presence, which is taking up more and more time, I'm guessing, as well.
It's been a particularly busy period, I would say. We were doing sort of 100 plus social media posts a week.
It's a lot.
Well, there was an enormous amount going on.
And will carry on being, I think, especially with the summer events, we've done more this summer than we would normally do.
Yeah, and we've got another busy sort of autumn winter programme as well, so it'll keep you busy.
Okay. But it's going in the right direction,
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
know, I mean, this is what we want people to do, is know that we're here for them, doing things for the town. And people now find out more and more information from Facebook and Instagram particularly. I think Twitter, perhaps less so, Twitter's not so much of that. Sort of steady growth I can see here.
Yeah, Twitter is more for talking to specific partners, really. You tend to pick things up there. It's less about reaching the public, really.
Yeah.
Yes, it hasn't
Yeah,
done in the
and
same way.
I always, when I see it, I always retweet something that's important, so.
There's more direct communication with social media as well as time with tracking all the accounts, what messages are coming in.
Yeah.
You see less and less people, and they'll be at the White House anymore.
Yes, true.
I get letters once every 3 months.
It's incredibly rare to get a letter.
And actually, it's an investment in communication, so it's a more general point. We had an inquiry through from one town council on the Clerks Forum recently put out something saying, would anybody interested, I've just appointed a communications officer, is anybody interested in a communication network? And it's surprising how many councils in the last year or two have appointed a communications person who will say, well, yeah, we'd like to get together and talk about how we're handling comms. So it is a kind of, we're not unusual in what we're doing. Obviously, we're slightly better.
Well, I think in terms of what we're trying to achieve as a town council, communications for me is absolutely essential. You know, if we're not communicating and involving and engaging our residents, then what are we doing? In my view, it's not the only thing we do, but it's absolutely critical. So this is important. You know, we are the most important committee in the town council, in my opinion. But I'm biased, of course. Okay, all right, thank you for that. Noted and with great approval. Google reviews. What prompted this?
It was something that we were looking at because we were aware of how many people find us through Google. And so we, Bethany did the exercise of actually going through and trying to find out what information we could find out, what it told us about how people were finding us, whether they were getting the information that they wanted to get on Google. Did partly come from an old irritation that there were pictures of Buckingham Palace on Google for Buckingham when we searched it. Do you remember that it used to do that? And then it stopped doing that now.
Progress.
Yes, so we made progress with that, definitely.
And I think as well, at the start of the pandemic, with the opening times, we really wanted to make sure that we were showing up on our search engines that actually we are open on the chamber, you can't use anymore and so forth. So that's why we've got as well locations that are listed, and then some that are verified, obviously some that are not, i.e. ones that don't have a post box, that they won't send us one, because that's how they verify it. But other ones, it was mainly as well for that reason, to really, again, hone on the communication to allow people to know accurate information of what our services are, when they're open, and how you can use them. With updated pictures, hopefully, as well.
I noticed that in the list, the actual town council offices were not included.
No.
Just the council chamber.
We could add them, but we could add it, yeah, but we don't really have the public here, so it's.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understood what you meant.
Well, it's just that it's got the parks, and it's got the shop ability, but in terms of contacting the council, there's no little squiggly thing in very close to where the council offices are. I think that would be useful to put in.
Yeah, we can add them.
Yes, it's not in that list of locations, is it? The Buckingham Town Council office. Which just seems strange.
So Google actually send a physical postcard.
Yes.
Yes.
With a verification code on it, and then when you go into the back, you put the verification on, because it's basically to make sure that no one else gets it and it goes to you, and they're actually verifying that your location is real and that you've received it. But obviously, it's a bit difficult to do that in a park when there's not a post box. But I have contacted them, they're yet to apply.
Okay.
So.
We haven't got the old jail in there, or the tourism information centre.
No, we can put that on the list. I'm sure it does have one, but I think we've left it off the list accidentally. So.
All right, okay.
And the community centre.
Well, strictly speaking, then we don't run that.
Yeah.
I mean, the website, the best we can do is important. And basically one looks all the check. There needs to be more information on this. People struggle to find out how to contact and book rooms here. There is no community centre website. There's just some thing attached to a community Bucks community voice or something, isn't it? Is that correct, Martin?
Yeah.
Are you still a trustee?
I am.
Has there been any discussion of actually having it?
Well, we decided not to go down that road because it was too difficult at those times. And as for booking, it was nigh impossible to go electronically because various things happen, and having a booking system like that for the community centre is difficult.
Yeah, I think online booking would be difficult. You know, obviously hotels struggle to get that right. That's their business, and I appreciate that. I just think it's knowing what the front load is, I think would be useful sometimes, people to know what the regular slots are, and where people might be able to get a booking in a Tuesday evening or something, or Tuesday evening booked up. So that's information that would be really helpful. I think one needs to know.
Yeah, that would require putting booking slots on a calendar then, wouldn't it, really?
Well, then, that calendar must exist.
We are going, because of lockdown, on to electronic virtual, but most of it on the calendar side is still on a piece of paper in the office.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
Because things don't change that much, and if you want a booking, you ring up and then see where it's available. And you know, sometimes there's some shuffling around and bits and bobs go on.
Okay, okay. It's your.
I can take it forward and
I think
put it on the agenda.
Yeah, generally I think that's the feedback I pick up from people. There have been one or two inquiries on what matters recently about how, you know, how do we get in touch. People seem to be a bit perplexed by that. I don't know if there was just, you know, a very simple website with just the basic information that people could be pointed at.
The old jail have their own website, do they?
Yeah, the museum had their own.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Otherwise, we're okay with Google reviews. I think it's interesting. Have we got an alert on there, by the way? Google. Google puts in Buckingham Town Council. Do we get an alert?
It comes up, yes, but it also comes up as it would be like another report, like an analytics report to say, oh, you've got this many searches, this many alerts, this many people have seen you this month or want this location. So yes.
Okay. Right, and there's been a steady increase. Okay. Thank you for that. Then next item is on press releases. It's just a list of the ones that we've done a lot in the last few months, isn't it? Okay. Okay, item 12, the welcome pack. Now, you and I talked a bit about this, Louise, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Can we rely upon the estate agents to distribute it robustly and reliably?
I suspect it would be more reliable than us, So our fundamental issue is that although we can and we do make up the welcome packs and sort them out and do our best to identify the correct houses, we were getting it wrong. If you're an estate agent, you know that someone's moving in, and you know if they've moved previously from within town or if they've come from out of town.
It's not just people buying properties, it's also letting properties too.
Yeah, so if you're
Letting agents too.
They give them, I've spoken to all these agents and seen, dealt with them firsthand, and they're all really eager and enthusiastic, and they always keep in touch with me. Actually, a lot of them have actually had to ask for more already, which is great, and they do it for buying, renting, subletting, anything like that. So,
Okay. Seems sensible, doesn't it?
Is this something we're groundbreaking in, or do other areas do it?
I don't think other areas do it in the way we do, I've seen. The way we have been doing it might not be totally correct, so we do probably need to do something differently.
Correct and make sense.
Okay,
Information,
great.
GDPR, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. Sorry, why are you laughing, Susan?
Okay, Okay, well, this is a better system. How are we going to measure whether it's working well or not?
How many are asked for Bethany, I suppose?
Yeah, having Bethany go through, definitely.
Yeah, and I do keep, I've got a system where regardless if they contact me, I will contact them to ask how it's going and get sort of an update of if they need more handling, given if it's still actually viable for you to do that, or if it's not. If it's not, then we'll have to review it and look at it.
Okay, I think we need a review point built in here, see whether it is working better than what we're currently doing.
Do you want to do it in 6 months or a year?
6 months.
6 months.
6 months, yeah.
And does,
I mean,
sorry,
no, go on.
does the welcome pack have the flood stuff in, or is that pertinent to the people in the flood?
That's just
Areas.
in flood areas.
So if somebody moves into there, how,
They'll get a letter from us every year.
right?
So we're going to do a letter drop once a year. So if you're a new resident, you'll at least have that prompt.
So the idea is they'll get one about this time every year, so
Right.
before we kind of get into autumn and winter properly. And then if the property's changed hands, they'll be invited to get in touch with
And
us.
is there a half a page in the welcome pack to say, you know,
There's a page in the welcome pack that is about flooding and a flood
please
warning
contact us
system.
for more information if you are in,
We should
Well,
add that, yeah, that's a good idea. We should
you
add that.
So, sorry, it just referred to a just moved here page on the website, but I can't, where is that?
It doesn't exist at the moment, so
Ah.
at the moment, all of that information is there, but it's on the residence information page. And so we could move it to a new page that's specifically for people who've just moved here, that will be a bit more Google friendly for people who are looking for information about Buckingham.
But it says it's currently available online under the just moved here section on the website.
So yeah, I think it means the section within the page, a different page. If that makes sense. So if you go to the residence information page on the website,
Where is that?
it's under the R services.
It's under
drop
our
down.
services, yeah.
If you go into residence information,
It's got flooding.
yeah, but if you just go to the residence information page itself and scroll down, there's a just moved here
Ah,
section.
right, yes, okay.
That's a digital version of all of the information that's in the welcome pack.
But actually just prove it's not obvious.
Yeah, so it needs to be a bit clearer on the website.
I have to say, it's not my top skill for navigating any website really, but I don't know.
Well, ideally, it shouldn't require too much navigation skills, the information should be there. But I mean, there's just so much information. You know, this is where librarians go in the way, because their job is to help people find what they need. And some people, you know, I'm good at finding things on the net, I can actually think of how to get there. But a lot of people don't have the skills that are not always very common. And I think the job of the website designer is to make it for the audience. But people don't have to use those skills.
That's why when we do the website tender, I'm looking at a slight redesign, because I don't think ours is as clear as it could be. 3 years messing around with the menus and things, I still haven't managed to make it quite the way I want, so. I don't think there's a huge amount that needs changing, just a little bit to make it a bit more fluid as you go through, so you can find what you want easily.
I think
And
it's
each
a whole
website's
lot
different
better than
as
it
well.
used to be.
Yes.
You know, you did a major review a couple of years
We
ago,
did,
didn't you?
yeah.
And it is an awful lot easier now. And it looks better as well. Yeah, which does make a difference.
Okay, so 2 recommendations have been made. Are we agreeable with those recommendations? I am.
I am as well.
All right.
2 recommendations
Yeah,
in the report, sorry,
yes, in the report, 1.1 and 1.2.
yes.
One is to distribute them via the estate agent, secondly is a welcome pack page on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, great, okay, thank you very much for that.
Just,
Martin?
are we fixed on that welcome pack page, or are we heading it something else?
I think we'll had it just moved here. unless you don't like
just
that.
moved or moving or
Yeah.
thinking
Use
of moving,
Buckingham, sort of thing.
choosing Buckingham, yeah. I mean, I just typed moving into the search bar, and it hasn't come up with anything.
The search bar is one of my greatest irritations in this website.
The search bar does not work very well.
It's really good at picking up the blog posts, nothing else.
That's true.
All right,
I've used it in the past, it doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I'm welcome to suggestions for what you want to call the page. You can email me your
I think
ideas.
News Buckingham, really.
yeah, that,
Yeah, you
that captures it all.
Question mark.
Maybe not question
I
mark.
mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, people will ask like, where is the banjo? If you lived here, you know where the banjo is, but for people who just moved here, have no idea where it happens. Especially if we move it next year, they're even more confused. Okay, so, welcome back, tick, done, chairs items, I didn't think I had any chairs items, do I? Right, no, okay. Date of the next meeting is the 13th of October at 2 p.m. And we'll be back in this room.